Welcome to Real Estate Therapy, where you'll find unusual advice for home buyers, sellers, and the agents who love them. I'm your host, Cynthia Cummins. Join me, won't you? Hi.
Hello.
I'm really excited to see you. It's not like I didn't see you several times already today, but everybody listening, two of my favorite people are with us today, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Jacque. I am the operations manager for Kindred SF Homes, and I work with these two lovely ladies here.
Hello, I'm Lisa Riddle, and I am a realtor with Kindred SF Homes and enjoy working with Cynthia and Jacque immensely.
And I enjoy working with you both also immensely. Today, we're here to talk about doors, locks, and keys, which, when you think about it, should be kind of the foundational when it comes to residential real estate. But it's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. In dreams, doorways, keys, and locks have all sorts of symbolism. Like it can be the portal to a new life. It could be new opportunities. It could be gaining access to something. It could mean that you're being blocked from something if you keep dreaming about a closed door. When people talk about keys, they use that metaphorically a lot. Like the key to something is this, and and so, in my opinion, keys, doors, locks are really pivotal in a big sense, and specifically about real estate. You will never see any talk about door opening or locks or keys. They don't go over that in the real estate exam, right? Like, it's like this thing that's you wouldn't even know that a door existed if you were studying for your real estate license. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and now some people may be listening to this and going, ha ha ha, how hard can that be? Well, yeah. So they have, yeah. How hard can that be? Well, we're here to tell you that
Very.
today. I mean, I think what this, like, being a real estate agent, I like to say the job of residential realtor is kind of like you're an iceberg, and people can only see like the very top of the iceberg. There's all the stuff that goes on underneath the surface of the water, and I mean, there is so much that goes down around keys and doors and locks that it's it's unfathomable. I mean, there's another pun about icebergs, right? Unfathomable. Um, so there's no standard. There's really no standard. But let's talk about it a little bit. Like, let's talk about one of the fun things about keys and doors, like the moment when you've just closed a sale and you get to meet the clients with the keys. I mean, there's nothing like that.
No, it's a fabulous feeling. You're handing them the keys to their new home. It's the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, I know. And then sometimes you get to watch them actually try the key in the lock for the first time. Why are you laughing?
Because that's where the fun begins, trying a key in a lock for the first time. It's never as simple as you think it would be.
You know, we're laughing a lot about this, and I don't think some of our audience is not grasping yet why we think this is so funny. Um, I mean, to me, there's okay. So there's the feeling of excitement when you can give people their keys,
Yes.
and then there's. I mean, I've been doing this for 35 years, and I am still a nervous wreck anytime I have to show a property or open up for an open house, it's like, do I have my keys? Or do I know how to get in? Will these keys work? What if they, I mean, like, what if they do, am I wearing the pants that have a hole in the pocket? You know?
Right. And which key for which lock? Often there are multiple locks and multiple keys. Oftentimes we are told, do not use the deadbolt, or don't use this lock. Don't use that key. That stays unlocked. Only touch. Yeah. So you're standing there going, okay, now wait, this key goes, no, not,
Right.
every house is different, especially in San Francisco with some of these older doorknobs and older locks. I mean, some of the things we've encountered, just, I find it hysterical, quite frankly.
Like they have those old lock sets where you've got a little push button on the
Right.
side of the door, and like, little kids at open houses, you got to you'll watch them like pushing the button in and out. And
Exactly.
then somebody pushes that button, they unpush it, and then everything's fine. You lock up, you go home. And then the owners call going, "Where you've locked me out." Because they don't have a key to that one that's got the push button.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Or you haven't properly locked the door because you only turned it once to the left, not twice. So although it feels locked, appears locked, you've not properly locked it according to
Right.
that homeowner's specifications. So
Right. And it's not necessarily to the left. It can be to the
it,
right.
they're all different.
It could be both. It could be once to the left and then all the way to the right until
Right.
like there are usually just so many rules.
Exactly.
And every door
Exactly.
is different. Every door
Yes.
is different.
Yes. And some keys need to be inserted all the way, and some keys you have to have them out just enough.
Yeah.
It's far more complicated than you'd think. And generally, you've got people standing behind you waiting to be let in, and you're fumbling with the key and a lock, feeling like a complete idiot because it's not working the way it's supposed to, or you're misremembering exactly what to do with it.
Yeah, say more about that, because that's classic. Like
I have
everybody's breathing down your neck.
They're eager to get in. There are a cluster of them standing there behind you. They're dying to see this house, and you're trying to you're going to love it. It's
This
three
never
bedrooms.
happens.
And you're fumbling and you're fumbling and you're fumbling, and you hear them go, and they shift and they go, and then occasionally I feel myself starting to sweat and my hands are shaking. I will take the easy way out sometimes. And if there's a, big, strong man standing there, I'll say, I just don't know what's happening. Would you like? It worked
Like,
last time I was here.
like he knows, right?
But you know what? The man will never say no. I have
Right.
never had a man say no to me. They always go, oh, absolutely. Let me see.
Yeah, and then they'll
Oftentimes
go,
it
right,
worked on the first try.
right. Either that, or they're going, there's something wrong with this key, right? You're like, yeah,
Right. Are you sure you
yeah,
have the right key?
no, Sherlock.
I mean, I think it's fine when you ask for help, but for me, one of the worst experiences ever is when you're there sweating and trying it, and then you hear someone say, well, why don't I have a go at it? That is just the ultimate shame.
Yeah, everybody's kind of like the Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and Zoolander trying to get into the computer. Like, hey there, it's Cynthia. If you're enjoying this, please help a girl out and be sure to like, follow, comment, review, or share on whatever platform you're using to view or listen. Please do just one of those things and visit our website, realestatetherapy.org, For more information or to pose a question or suggest a topic for a future episode. Thanks. I don't know. Okay, so Jacque, I remember one door in particular that we encountered not too long ago it was a big condo building in Pack Heights.
Well, let me remember first. I mean, I knew there were two different keys. So for the top lock and the bottom lock, there were different keys. At first, we only had one of them, and then I think we found the second key in a drawer, and that made everything more simple.
Okay.
But you had to pull the door towards you to kind of loosen it up, I guess, a bit.
Come here.
Really had to be coaxed into it. Then I think the key spun just around. It didn't seem like it was catching on anything, and it would go a few times, I think, and then finally you'd click and then push forward, but turn the knob at the same time as you turn the key that final time. And
Right.
that was just, I mean, I don't think I ever did it on the first try. Even after, 20 times opening that door, you'd have to do that same thing every time and kind of take it out and restart. Like sometimes, walk a few steps back, reapproach it. But it would always take a long time. And then I finally figured out. I mean, it still wasn't perfect, but I really feel like I finally figured it out. And then that was just at the moment where we had to have different agents come and use the lock by themselves.
Right.
So taking this relationship that you've developed with this door and then it out in a text to an agent. So come a little from the left and then pull it towards you, turn this way. Writing that out in a text just never, there's always something you miss. So then people are blowing you up, I can't get in.
Yeah, I mean, I recall that another agent on our team who was doing the open house was on the phone with you.
Yeah.
Near tears.
Yeah. Mad at me, like really. And we're in this together, I turn on each other now. That's exactly
right. Right. That's exactly what the door wants. Well, I remember when we were talking about that after the weekend. You said, it's like when you approach this door, it's like you enter a fourth dimension.
Yeah, because you try everything. You try left and right, and then there's a secret third option that you just don't know about. But you'll get it eventually.
I know. I mean, you also don't know what you're going to encounter a lot of times. Let's say it's not an all ready to go listing. Let's say you're showing the property and you've gotten the key from somebody or an owner says, hey, you can find the key under the planter box on the front stairs. Just go on in. Don't bother. And you just never know what's going to be behind the door.
It's true. I think that even if you're house sitting for someone, there's always instructions that kind of crack me up because everyone has this very specific method. You can't open it too much or the cat will come shooting out, but you can't let it close on its own or the neighbor's going to come out yelling about the noise. I think, yeah, there's always something to it.
Yeah. And then you've got, I mean, ones that I love are like, lock boxes are a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
I remember once, I forget, I was showing something and I get there and first of all, there was something cranky about the lockbox. It was a contractor's lockbox, not one of our digital ones. And I'm like doing the code and I think I finally got it open and there were no keys in it. Right. So I called the agent and it took a while, it took like 5 or 10 minutes to get the agent on the phone. Meanwhile, my clients are standing there like, I mean, it immediately makes you feel incompetent that you can't get the door open. And I'm kind of making excuses like, oh, I'm doing my best. Crouching down, like I'm crouching down because the lockbox is on like a gas pipe there at ground
Right.
level, right? Looking up at them going, I'm gonna, I promise we'll get in. And then I finally get the agent on the phone and he's like, what do you mean the keys aren't in it? I'm like, yeah, the keys aren't in it. Well, that's impossible, right? Well, it's not impossible. The keys aren't in it. And then it's like, then there's always, I think in this case, I said, well, do you have a secret key hidden somewhere where I can find it? Sure enough, he did, like under the um, garden hose holder, you know. Um, I was able to get in. But then there's digital locks, right? All kinds of different systems.
Mm-hmm.
And then alarm codes.
I had a funny story. I got the lockbox open. I pull out the keys and I cannot get the door open. And I have my client, it's a couple, and the man offers to try. He can't get it open. I call the agent. She's like, well, I don't understand why you can't open the door.
Right,
Everybody opens the door. Everybody.
right.
And I said, we've all tried. There's three of us standing here. We cannot get this door open. Well, did you try this? Did you try that? We went through the whole list. And finally, she's exasperated. She's convinced that none of us know what we're doing. She goes, go around to the garage. Here's the garage code. You can go in that way. So I tap in the garage code. Nothing happens. And I said, the garage door's not opening. And she said, you've got to be kidding me. Are you putting in 813? Yes,
Right.
I am. Well, that's ridiculous. Do I need to drive over there? And I said, well, that would be helpful if you want us to get in to see the property.
Yeah,
So
please drive
finally
on over.
she said, see if the side gate's open. Maybe something's open on the back of the house. So we go through the side gate. And of course, there's a back door that's unlocked and ajar. And we go in. Lo and behold, there's no power in the house, which is why the garage door wasn't cooperating, right? It's an
Mhm.
automatic garage. So I call the agent back and I said, well, I can't explain to you what happened with the keys, but there's no power in the house. None of the lights are coming on. That's probably why the
Mhm.
garage door wouldn't open. And she starts laughing and she goes, God damn it. Those kids forgot to pay the electric bill. And I guess the owner of the building's children had been living there. So anyhow, but that one was not my fault, but boy, was it uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean that's like, you know, I I was talking to somebody just the other day about um I this probably, I don't know if this has happened to you, but getting locked out on a roof deck, that's a thing that happens a lot. And believe me, it was a real issue before we had mobile phones.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I remember being up on the roof at 2415 Van Ness, I think 2415 Van Ness. It's like a 12-story, no, 9 or 10-story building, like looking over the edge of the parapet, like going, help. I forget what happened. Somebody came up to the roof deck and let me in, but you know, you could freeze to death out there maybe not in San Francisco. Okay, so there's all kinds of ways that it can go wrong, right? Like the agent gives you the wrong door code. The listing agent's assistant puts the wrong keys in the wrong lockbox. That's a good one. There's an alarm. There's a dog. There's somebody staying at the house. This happened to me. Went in, I was kind of a new agent, went into this condo with my clients, had the keys. I knocked first, always a good idea. We looked through the whole place and we go in the bedroom and somebody was asleep in the bed. Yeah. They didn't
That's
wake up.
uncomfortable.
They weren't dead. Yeah, it was.
That's really uncomfortable.
I know, it's really bad. You don't want that to happen.
No, and
No,
waking someone up
no.
is bad enough. Like, hey there. No.
Right, exactly. So do we have advice for new agents, or what's the advice for handling this, because it's stressful. It's stressful. Keys and doors are stressful.
I am overly cautious, I think. I expect it to go wrong. So arriving with extra time to figure this out, if there aren't keys, if you can't get the lockbox open, bringing extra keys, making sure everyone has an extra set,
Mhm.
and propping open every single door if you go out to the backyard or on a roof deck. Because, like you said, a lot of them just shut behind you and you're showing, clients the beautiful view. You turn around and just, it's not
Right.
opening to get back in. So I think I'm always overly cautious. I prop every door open, even if I know that it's going to stay unlocked. I just don't want to risk it.
Yeah. How about you, Lisa? Any advice for people?
I like where Jackie's going with it. An abundance of caution, right? Never hurts. I also think for some reason I can stay pretty calm under pressure, but not around these doors. And that's something that I would advise new agents to start working on from the get-go. How
Yeah.
to approach the door with calm, sort of a
Right.
zen. I will befriend the door and I will cooperate. Because it still makes me sweat buckets like
Yeah.
nothing ever does. So I think, yeah, maybe just be prepared mentally and emotionally that you and the door may have to go to war and you
That's
want to
right.
come out the victor.
Well, I know Jackie said the door can smell your fear.
Yes, and that's
Right.
exactly right.
I really think it can. And I think that some of the most successful real estate agents who you think, there's nothing they don't know about real estate. And then you're their assistant or something like that, and they're texting you just in a panic about, do I have
Right.
the right keys? I'm going to get there in 3 minutes. What's the alarm code? What do I need to do? Wow, it can humble just about anyone to process.
Right. Have you ever actually been to your listing and used a key? Oops. Mea culpa on that one. Yeah. I mean, having said all that, there is something very beautiful about the doorway and the possibility of having a new home. And I mean, as an agent, having a set of keys. And I always love being able to go over and see the house, like when there's nobody there,
Right.
right? The owner's gone or it's vacant. It's kind of exciting.
It is.
And it's just like a portal to another world. We try to end our episode with a story from the trenches, and I have one today that I'm gonna read, and then feel free to jump in and comment if you want. And it just happens that it's about doors. So one of my closest friends, let's call her Jane, she told me this back. I mean, I've known this story for a long time. She and I were new agents together in the late 80s, early 90s. And, back when fax machines were relatively new and there weren't mobile phones. Well, there were, but they were like the size of a small electrical appliance.
Right.
And the lambada was big. I remember when this was going on. Remember the lambada?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure
You
you
don't.
don't, Jackie.
You don't, Jackie. Uh, anyway, so Jane was showing a property over in Diamond Heights in San Francisco. And if you're not familiar with Diamond Heights, um, and a lot of people listening to this aren't, um, what you need to know is that most of the housing stock consists of these kind of boxy condos built back in the 70s. And there it's fairly high density. There'll be like there 3 or 4 story buildings. I don't know. Have you shown much over there, Lisa?
I
Diamond Heights?
haven't. I haven't. I drive through there all the time, but I haven't shown too
Right.
many properties.
So, it's kind of it was kind of entry level. If you were buying a condo, maybe first purchase, this was a place where you could find a studio or a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom. And, they're very 70s. They had shingled exteriors and, I'm trying to think of some of the other features, but they had long interior hallways, like in a hotel. Not the most appealing thing ever, and I think they were labeled like Building A and Building B, and you've been in places where you can't tell Building A from Building B,
Right.
and in fact, so much so that here I remember showing the places there when I had a listing. I would like greet visitors, um, like at an intersection or in the parking lot next to the red sign pointing to, you know, because it was too hard to direct them. And this was also days before mobile phones, so you couldn't just show up and say, "I'm here. Do you see me?"
Right.
So anyway, so Jane was showing the condo. The listing agent couldn't be there, and um, he gave her the keys. And so she's like looking for unit 212 in building D or whatever, and, running a little late. She's got her client with her, and so they find their way to unit 212, and she puts the key in the lock and opens the door and walks in. So the floor plans are all pretty similar. Like, you come in, you're kind of in this entry. On your right might be a door to a kitchen. And then if you take a few steps forward, you're in the living dining room. And then the bedrooms are off to the side. Jane comes in, and she, right in front of her, sitting at the dining table, is a woman seated at the table with tweezers and a hand mirror. And she's in the middle of plucking her eyebrows. And she's like mid pluck. She's got the mirror up, she's got the tweezers in the other hand, and she looks at Jane, and it's awkward, right? Right. And so,
Personal, intimate moment.
but she doesn't say anything. She's just sitting there staring at Jane and her buyer, right? And so Jane's like doing her flight attendant thing, like, like, here's the kitchen, and the bedroom is this way, right? And looking at this woman who's still just frozen, looking at her. And, and then the bathroom is over here. And isn't this look at this nice view out the sliding glass doors, right? And, then the lady at the table, she just goes, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" And and so, wrong building, wrong unit,
But the
right
door.
key worked, no problem.
That's horrifying.
Isn't that?
Anytime I have tweezers that close to my face, I'm always thinking, wow, I hope something doesn't surprise me right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, And what do? You just kind of like, you just say, gosh, I'm sorry. Start backing up, you know.
You might consider changing your keys.
I know. I mean, that's frightening.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times out on broker's tour I have walked into, like it's easy to get off by one house. Like, you're looking for the
Sure.
driveway, and if the agent hasn't put out a sandwich sign to kind of point you, you're
Sure.
thinking about 8 million things like, do I have my car keys? Did I park? Did I set the brake? Um, and then next thing you know, you're in the house next door. Doors open. Just go on in. There's somebody, shaving. That reminds me. I have a few of those. I'm going to need to pull up some stories about that. Anyway,
I look forward to it.
well, this has been fun.
It
Um,
has.
Anything you want to add about doors, keys, locks? Oh, I want to say if I had kept every key copy that I ever made in my 35-year career, I would have a barrel full at this
I am
point.
sure.
And I remember early on saying to myself, I should keep these in a jar. And then I'd say, oh, can't be bothered. If only I'd known. It would be,
Right.
it'd be fun just to see what volume of key copies I would have.
I'd be curious. It also just makes you think, driving through San Francisco, it's cool, and it's maybe a little eerie how many houses you've been in. Just driving past, thinking, I know that floor plan.
Right?
I know how weird that door is. All over the city.
Right. Yeah, it'd be like thinking about old boyfriends or something, I know what unlocks that key, what unlocks that door.
And behind door number 1.
All righty. So, for you who are watching or listening, if you want to learn more about us, you can look at the show notes. Send us your real estate adventure stories. We'd love to have them and share them. And until next time, I'm Cynthia. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
We'll meet again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.